So, man, it feels like we're never going to stop talking about AEW because somehow, some way, you wound up getting in a little bit of a Twitter spat with Tony Khan last week. Let me add some context. Context is king here on the program. For whatever reason, WWE's partners decided to start trolling Tony Khan and AEW. A few weeks ago, the Jaguars put playoff tickets on sale, and then against the Titans, they fell short and didn't actually wind up making the playoffs. So WWE on USA, their Twitter account, quote tweeted that announcement that the Jags had tickets on sale with that now iconic Kurt Angle meme where he's just staring like that's not going to happen because, of course, the Jags aren't there. And then there was another match that was announced with the program Monday Night Raw. Jinder Mahal versus Seth Rollins. Your pal Raj Giri commented on social media that they had history because they had a great match at so-and-so pay-per-view in such and such year, whatever those details were. And the response, again, from a WWE partner was, what was the cage match rating? And this becomes a thing because it's come out that Tony Khan is really curious what fans think of the individual matches that happen on his program, and he keeps up with those ratings. Now, some people in the industry have poked fun at that. Others say, hey, man, he's getting listener feedback. He's getting viewer feedback. Anytime you can solicit feedback, that's a good thing. But there were others who met it with a chuckle. He took offense. And when Jinder Mahal was given a title shot after not getting a lot of TV time, respectfully, in the last year or so, even though he is a former WWE champion and was just on TV with The Rock a couple of weeks ago, Tony thought perhaps there was a double standard in the internet wrestling community because Hook, Taz's son, who has lost one time to Jungle Boy Jack Perry and then regained his FDW championship, he's only lost once in AEW, and they announced he was going to get a title shot against Samoa Joe. So Tony Khan took to Twitter to respond to that. And you quote tweeted it with the clown emoji. Not very nice of you, Eric. And then he responded with a GIF, I suppose. And I think he called you, well, it says, get out of my sight, you miserable has-been. And you quote tweet this lady from Dallas or Knots Landing or whatever the hell I'm looking at here and said, you got a thing for that style of hair, don't you, Tony? So you were having fun with this, but it did feel like Tony at least started seriously, and in the end it felt like it was a little more lighthearted. That's the way I viewed it from my home in Huntsville, Alabama. What was really going on with that Twitter interaction with you and Tony last week?
I was having a blast. I mean, literally it started, I have an infrared sauna in my studio, and I do about 90 minutes a day. Usually I do it in the mornings, but I was doing it in the evening for whatever reason. I'm looking at this stuff. That's kind of when it started, is when I was in the sauna. And I'm laughing my ass off in the sauna. It was funny. And I had a blast doing it. I think I told you the next day, man. I guess I shouldn't at this stage of my life, age, but fucking with people on social media is a guilty pleasure of mine.
What's wrong with you?
I just, hey, if you got nothing else to do, I'm in a freaking sauna, you know?
Yeah.
I'm in a sauna. I don't have a TV in my sauna, you know? I don't like to read in the sauna because my eyes are sweating and it's dripping down on my book or on my phone or whatever, and the heat ruins the phone anyway. So I'm sitting there by myself for 90 minutes, and I snuck out, I grabbed my phone, I look at it because I wanted to put some music on, and I made the mistake of going to social media and seeing this shit. And for the next 90 minutes, I'm laughing my ass off, tweeting back and forth, having a blast. It was fun for me, man. It's just fun. And by the way, so everybody knows, I was going to open this show up. I was going to get one of those big Russian Cossack hats and a big pair of goofy-ass sunglasses. And I was going to open the show like Tony Khan in a scrum.
Oh, come on.
Wouldn't that be good? It would have been so good. It was so good. But, you know, there were no Russian Cossack hats available anywhere in Cody, Wyoming. And because of the weather, I didn't feel like going to Billings and looking for them. But that's what I mean. I'm having fun with this shit, bro. That's all. And
I feel like when I was a kid, my sister used to collect you. She used to have these little toys that had these, they were about this tall and they had the hair that spiked up and it came with a little brush. And I guess the story was these little mythical creatures lived under a bridge. They were the trolls. And she would just comb their hair. And that's you
yeah,
now. You are
yeah,
a professional Twitter troll. If you want, don't start none, won't be none. Here comes Eric Bischoff. He's going to stir it up and have some fun and entertain us.
yeah. And if you're gonna jump in, just know we're gonna go for a ride. That's all. And know that I'm doing it from a perspective of love and humor.
Well, if that was lost on everybody, because it did pop off for a little bit, and you had a fabulous response that I wish you wouldn't have deleted, but after he called you a has-been, I think you responded with a screen grab of you coming out on AEW Dynamite and the little chyron at the bottom after it says your name and your social handle. It said groundbreaking something or other. So you responded and put a little asterisk and put groundbreaking washed up has-been or whatever it was.
Yeah, I didn't see that. And by the way, for the record, you have to be a real fucking degenerate to get me to block you. Now, I mute the hell out of a lot of people just because they clog up my line or this stuff they say is so stupid. It doesn't make me laugh.
Right.
And I'll, if it's so mean spirited or so stupid or racist or anything else like that, violent, I'll block you because I don't want to see that shit. But if it's just people criticizing me and doing what people normally do, like I said, I have fun with that. I don't block anybody, and like I said, unless you fall into that bucket. So I don't know where that went, but I wish I would have it because I think that's funny. I think it was
What I enjoyed most of all is the way you put a bow on the whole interaction. I don't know if it was because you were going to bed that night or what, but
I had to get out of the sauna.
Okay, well, you tweeted out something at Tony Khan. A thought on tonight's war's bittersweet end, in words that echo from a barred-long friend. When swords are sheathed and battles cease to be, a bittersweet taste lingers for all to see. Good night, at 83 Weeks fans. What in the world? What kind of Charles Dickens got into you? What is this?
I wanted to be sure because it was clear, Tony and I were going back and forth. It was kind of like a Wimbledon thing, right? It was like a tennis match, bing, 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 bing. And all of a sudden he got real quiet. Like he's not responding anymore. Like he ran out of shit to say. And I could tell he was cashing in his chips, so to speak. So it was clear it was coming to an end, but I wanted to end it on a fun, high note. And I've read a lot of Shakespeare. I've studied poetry in college. I dabble, in poetry quite often. So I thought I want to come up with a way that'll have that kind of Shakespearean feel, but end this on a note that will leave followers anticipating the next Twitter battle.
Oh my gosh.
No, that's what my intent was. Like, this was my closing act. This is the end of Nitro. This is the part of the Twitter show that gets people to tune in to our next Twitter battle. I format everything, Conrad. My life is a 3-act structure.
Do we have to have another Twitter battle?
You have to have another Twitter battle, but I wanted to end it on a high note. And I knew that, by the way, I don't read poetry. I've never read a lick of Shakespeare. I've got no interest in even trying to develop that skill set. So what did I do, Conrad? What would any thinking person do that had AI at their fingertips? I said, hey, Grok, or whatever it's called on X, how would Shakespeare comment on the bittersweet end of a war? And that's what I got. So I copied and pasted it.